and would like to see if we could solve the Iran problem in an intelligent way as opposed to a brutal way. There's only two, intelligent and brutal. Those are the two alternatives. And you probably read today the story about Iran has sort of agreed to the terms. They're not going to make, I call it in a friendly way, nuclear dust. We're not going to be making any nuclear dust in Iran. And we've been strong. I want them to succeed. I want them to end up being a great country. Frankly, but they can't have a nuclear weapon. That's the only thing. It's very simple. It's not like I have to give you 30 pages worth of details. There's only one sentence. They can't have a nuclear weapon. But I said last night that Iran is very lucky to have the Emir because he's actually fighting for them. He doesn't want us to do a vicious blow to Iran. He says, you can make a deal, you can make a deal. He's really fighting, and I really mean this. I think that Iran should say a big thank you to the Emir because the Emir is fighting very much that we don't. And there are many people that want me to go the other route. They say, just knock it out because nobody can beat us. No, we have the strongest military in the world by far. Not China, not Russia, not anybody. You know, we were losing the Middle East because the past administration didn't handle the relationship properly, didn't show the kind of respect that they deserve. And me, I have a lot of respect and I have a lot of liking. I like the Crown Prince a lot. I've known him a long time in Saudi Arabia, and the Emir is fantastic. And we're going to another country in a little while, UAE, a fantastic man, fantastic leader. And they have great leadership talents in this part of the world, and that's why they're doing so well. And you probably read today the story about Iran has sort of agreed to the terms. They're not going to make, I call it in a friendly way, nuclear dust. We're not going to be making any nuclear dust in Iran. And we've been strong. I want them to succeed. I want them to end up being a great country. Frankly, but they can't have a nuclear weapon. That's the only thing. It's very simple. It's not like I have to give you 30 pages worth of details. There's only one sentence. They can't have a nuclear weapon. And I think we're getting close to maybe doing a deal without having to do this. There's two steps. There's a very, very nice step, and there's a violent step. The violence like people haven't seen before. And I hope we're not going to have to do this. I don't want to do the second step. Some people do. Many people do. I don't want to do that step. So we'll see what happens. But we're in very serious negotiations with Iran for long-term peace. And if we do that, it'll be fantastic. And for this country in particular, because you're right next door. You're a stone's throw away, not even, right? You're a foot away. You can walk right into Iran. Other countries are much further away, so probably it's not quite the same level of danger. But we are going to protect this country. It's a very special place with a special royal family, and the head of the royal family is two heads of the royal family, really, if you think. Great people. And they're going to be protected by the United States of America. And I think we're not going to have to do it because I believe very strongly in peace through strength. Now, we just gave out in the budget a $1 trillion budget, which is the biggest we've ever done. $1 trillion. Never came close to a number like that. We'd be at 800. It would be at 800 billion. Would be at maybe 900, 910. We never got anywhere close to $1 trillion, but we're doing it. Hopefully, we will not have to use these weapons. We make the greatest weapons in the world. We make the greatest fighter jets. We make the greatest. I guess Larry would know better than anybody, but we make the greatest planes in the world, the greatest missiles and defense systems. The Patriot system is the best acknowledged to be. I mean, this isn't from me. And we have a lot of it now. It's under order. And we're coming up with new systems. And we're coming up with a new system of drones. Because drones are really, if you look at the war that's going on, it's horrible. But we are watching it very closely. And drones really seem to be taking over that war. And so I hope you're going to come up with some nice, inexpensive engine for a drone so that we don't have to spend so much. I asked one of the companies, I said, I want a lot of drones. And, you know, in the case of Iran, they make a good drone. and they make them for $35,000, $40,000. So I said to this company, I want to see it. They came in 2 weeks later with a drone that cost $41 million. I said, that's not what I'm talking about, $41 million. I'm talking about something for $35,000, $40,000 where you send thousands of them up. And that's a great way. And they're very good, too, and fast and deadly. Horrible, actually. And I said last night, it was a great meeting, great everything. They brought in Lee Greenwood to sing. It was a beautiful evening, and I appreciate it. But I said last night that Iran is very lucky to have the Emir because he's actually fighting for them. He doesn't want us to do a vicious blow to Iran. He says, you can make a deal, you can make a deal. He's really fighting, and I really mean this. I think that Iran should say a big thank you to the Emir because the Emir is fighting very much that we don't. And there are many people that want me to go the other route. They say, just knock it out because nobody can beat us. We have the strongest military in the world by far. Not China, not Russia, not anybody. We have the best military equipment in the world, and we have the strongest military in the world. If you remember ISIS, General Raisin Kane, right? We knocked it out in 3 weeks. Remember they said it would take 4 years to knock out ISIS? We did it in 3 weeks. That's because you had the right leader. With a stupid person, you'll do it in 4 or 5 years. You won't even do it. You'll fight for 4 years and then you'll leave. Like we always do. You fight. We had a president that blew up half the Middle East and then he left. That was it. It was like spent $10 trillion on blowing up the Middle East and then he left. Just said, let's leave now. You were left with nothing. And we don't do that. We take care of our friends. And so you have a great ally in us, and there's nobody even close. In terms of military power, there's nobody close. And I'm not only talking about nuclear. I don't like to mention the word because the nuclear is so destructive that it brings you into a different category. But we're number one in nuclear. I rebuilt our military, by the way, in my first term. We had a really successful first term. Then the election was rigged, and I had to wait, and it became more historic. And I was able to watch and see. And the good news is although it's bad news in another way, but the good news is that Biden was so bad, worst president we've ever had by far. There was never a president like this. This man was grossly incompetent, and now that's been proven. This has been an amazing trip, and as you know, I'm going to UAE in a little while. We're going to first watch an air show that will be spectacular from our friend, the Emir. He's done a great job, And I've met such great people, and as you know, that we're trying to give Yemen a chance, and we're going to give Syria a chance. With Yemen, they have a tremendous Houthi problem. I believe that's a problem for them. You never really know. It's a tricky part of the world, but we were asked to stop firing at the Houthis, and that's something that they've never asked because they're tough and they're good fighters and all, but they're not going to be blowing ships out of the water anymore, so that's what we wanted. And we'll see how that works. But their emissaries were very, very strong on it. So that's a good thing for Yemen because they're trying to help themselves also. And we want them to get along with Saudi Arabia because that's been a big fight. And the other, of course, is Syria. We took out the sanctions, and I didn't even realize it's been many, many years that they've had sanctions, and as you know, there was a very big change at the top. And I thought that we have to give them a chance. They really have no chance with the sanctions. They were very biting. They were top of the line. Nobody could even deal with them. You couldn't make a phone call to Syria. So we did that, and I met the new leader of the country, and he's got a strong past. I'll be very nice. He got a strong past, but I liked him a lot. I think he'll be a great representative, and we'll see. You're going to have a strong past to put that one around. You cannot be a weak person. If you're a weak person, we would just be wasting time. So he's a strong guy, and I thought he was good, and let's see what happens. But we're going to give him a fighting chance by taking off the sanctions. So we've actually been praised for that. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia was very strong. Please do that. He wanted it done. The President of Turkey wanted it done. President Erdogan called me, said, is there any way you could do that? Because if you don't do that, they don't have a chance. And so I did it, and it's actually been very popular. The Emir liked it a lot. It's been very, very popular. So let's see what happens, but it's my honor to have done it.